Hi there, this is Tara Cooper. I just wanted to follow up with some things right now and let you know that a lot of questions come up around the whole idea of being a mom and a business owner. And I wanted to answer some of those questions for you today because I know that these questions are common, and if I can just address them in a video, it might be a lot easier for everybody to be able to share this around. So, like I said, one of the most common questions are, how on earth do you make a business possible with family at home, and especially if you have young children? And I'll just give you a really quick summary of where I've come in 4.5 years. In 2009, I had two children, ages 2 and 6 months. By 2011, I had a third child, and at that time, all three children were at home with me. I had a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, well, almost three, I guess, and then a newborn baby. So, I really had my children at home with me pretty much the majority of this time building a business. So, yeah, it's absolutely critical to know some of the pointers that I had to, overcome, and some challenges that are going to be there for you. I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not. There's going to be challenges that you face every single day. And most of all, knowing that this is part of the whole journey, it will help you to understand that every day is going to be a different day. When someone asks me about my schedule, I have to be very honest and transparent with the fact that my schedule is not always the same every day. I really do build this business in the pockets of my time. That's what I can do right now. My children are very demanding. They have high needs. Every child does. So we need to be able to move with the changes as we go. Now, something that I learned very early on in this business from an amazing coach, Jeffrey Combs, was that if I was looking for perfection in order to do this business would never happen. So if you're sitting there thinking right now, well, when my child is in school full time, when my husband is home from work, all these things, and that's when I'll actually do the business, when in fact that's probably going to hurt you the most. You really do deserve to have time with your children, yes, I agree, and that's very important. You also do deserve to do this business even when perfect conditions aren't there. I schedule three-way calls during the times of my day that I feel are going to be the best times, but they're not always. I've got children in the background sometimes. But what my coach did say is that if I was looking for perfection and only scheduling things during the evening when my kids were sleeping, that this business would be a lot harder. Because number one, if I can't do the business other than those perfect times in the day and night, then I'm really stalling on a lot of things where, life is what it is. People know that if they're scheduling a three-way call with me, they may hear a child or two or three in the background. And that's just the way my reality is right now. It's not forever, but I also know that I love being able to do this from home. And if I didn't have this opportunity, I would be working full-time right now. So these are some sacrifices and choices that I have. The next thing is daily consistent action. I know some people start and stop, or they feel like, oh, this week's going to be really stressful because maybe your husband's working extra hours, or your husband's a shift worker, or your wife for that matter. But I'm just relating to the moms mostly. But here's the thing. Again, the perfection side of things is not going to work very well if you're trying to schedule your business in those times when it only will work perfectly. Because what happens is you get into a momentum maybe for a few days, and you're touching your business every day, and you're doing great strides and doing amazing things. And then all of a sudden maybe you're off for 4, 5, 6, sometimes people unplug for 2 weeks. That is not going to work to your advantage. You know what it's like. When you have momentum in something and you stop, it's a lot harder to get started again. And I see so many moms quit this because they haven't stayed consistent. And by consistency, what does that look like? For some of you, and I know for me, some days I have 15 minutes that I can spend, and that's what I have at that moment. But guess what? I use that 15 minutes to the best of my advantage. It might be getting on a call with someone, letting them know firsthand, I only have 15 minutes, but I wanted to connect with you. Be productive with the time that you do have. Yes, it is in the pockets. There are times where I'm in a parking lot ready to get groceries, and I'm getting back to someone on my texting or giving them a quick call in my car and saying, I'm just in a parking lot ready to go in and get my groceries, and here I am. I want to just connect with you. Use the time wisely when you have it, because you never know from day to day when that time's going to happen. But use it and make sure that you're doing something every day, even if it is going into your back office and checking your status and making sure your orders are all going well, and see if there's anyone there that needs some extra help. Maybe they've gone inactive and they didn't know. These are things I always want to be in touch with for my business and my team members, so that they are aware that I'm looking out for their best interest as well. The next thing, of course, what I said the first time was, number one, it can't be about perfection. Number two, stay consistent. Do daily things every single day, 5 out of 7 days a week. I tend to do about 6 days a week, but there are times, like I said, that it's only a 15-minute time slot. The next thing is to stay plugged in. I cannot stress this enough. As a mom, I know how crazy and chaotic things can get. And there are nights where I just need to go and put my head down on the pillow early and shut everything off, because it's just been one of those days. We all have those days. And it still happens for me. I had one this past week. I know what it's like. It's real. But if you don't stay plugged in and connected via whether it's live events, and it's getting even easier sometimes to get to events because there's a lot of webinars, there's a lot of online training that is occurring. If you can't physically get to a location, obviously live events, being in person, is the best way, because you're connecting not only with the learning but with the socialization of the people that you're meeting in there too. The next thing is getting on live calls every week. I make it mandatory for myself. I will never tell people what to do, but I know for me, in order to stay as successful as I've been in 4.5 years and growing continuously, it's because I am requiring of myself things that I will not let go. So getting to one live event every single month, getting on 1 or 2, usually 2 live calls a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. You don't need to be on every single call. There's so many of them. Pick the 1 or 2 that you absolutely connect most with and listen to those each week. Make it a habit. Make it something that and don't schedule something during that time. Make sure that it's always your priority to get on that call. As far as that goes, in the end, why are you building this business? Is it for the fact that you want more freedom with your family? Probably it is. I know that's for me. I want to be able to create freedom for our family, but also freedom for other families, so that they can make choices based on their own schedules and their own needs. So if you're looking at it that way, please stop looking at it as a short-term vision. Okay, a lot of times people think, I'm going to give it a good year, and if it's not happening for me, it's not for me. Well, you know what? If I would have had that mentality at the beginning, even the first 2 years, I may not be where I am today. I may have given up like a lot of people do. And I'm so grateful that I listened to Jimmy Smith and his amazing, just a few short words, the only way that you can fail is if you quit. So I would like to ask you today, who's counting on you to succeed? Because if you have an answer that comes to the top of your head right now, you know that you're here for the right reasons. Who would be let down, or who would you be letting down if you quit? And who would you be letting down if you don't stay consistent? If you're still in a place where maybe you started this a few years ago and you've never really taken that attitude or made the full decision that you really want to go and make this happen, you might be on the fence still. You might be kind of in and out, 1 week to another, 1 month to another, even 1 year to another. You can't do it like that. You have to make a decision today to start in the place of, I know where I'm going. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be challenging. There are going to be days that I want to kick my leg against the wall, hit my head against the wall. There are days that I'm going to just need to shut down. And that's okay. You need some time for yourself too. And I definitely know when I'm going to that place where I need to just take a deep breath. Do that. Take a deep breath and know that this is always going to get better. But you need to stay consistent with it. And that's the most important thing. It's the little tiny consistent things along the way that create the biggest momentum later. You just don't see it yet. 2 books I'd highly recommend, and they're very similar, but it really depends on which book speaks best to you. I love both of them just the same. One of them early on in this business that I read, which made me understand that when I felt some days that I wasn't doing enough, but I only had that 15 minutes or that 30 minutes, or, some days it was an hour or two. But the thing was, when I read these books, I realized that those little tiny things that I'm doing along the way, even though I didn't feel like I had done very much, they actually meant a lot. So I would recommend that you go out and find The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson or The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It's my understanding that you should be able to get most those two names of books in most stores for books, but if you're having a hard time finding them in a regular bookstore, then I suggest that you go to success.com. Again, that's success.com, and you'll find an endless number of an amazing selection of books. For anyone who's in our business as well, you can go to Sound Concepts, and I believe that both of those books should be available in our ISA sales tools as well. All right, well, you know what, everybody? I hope that this has helped you a little bit. There's no secret, magical formula, to be honest. It's just doing it every day, being okay with the fact that chaos happens. This is what you're doing. You're in a business that you get to create your own hours and make decisions based on your family's needs. But don't make it a matter of letting your family be the excuse for why you're not doing something. Have them be your reason why you're plugging in today. All right, and with that, I really hope that this has helped you. Have a great day.